Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
We're in for a treat today. We're hopping aboard the Barb Ole III to spend some time with Chef Kelly. It's gourmet meals on your boat. On today's show, a classic from the get-go back in 1954. Leather designs on Gabriola, and does BC get a vote on legalizing pot? That and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is Chef Kelly. Everyone knows you as Chef Kelly.
Chef Kelly is the name.
Do you want to share your real name?
My real name is Weldon, W-E-L-D-O-N, Kelsick.
Kelsick. Is that where the Kelly comes from?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Chef Kelly has traveled the world cooking gourmet meals aboard yachts, and we're going to get into more of that story a bit later on this edition of Go Island. But everything he cooks has attitude.
That's right.
What do you mean by attitude?
Well, you know, if you went out and you decide you're going to cook a hamburger, as I said, you know, people just cook meat, straight meat. I do it with attitude. I put different spices in it. Being from the Caribbean, I use a lot of different spices.
Right.
All spices you can think of, and make it really gourmet.
Is that a reflection of you? Do you have a little bit of attitude?
I have a lot of attitude.
I think we're going to get along just fine.
I have a lot of attitude.
For example, show me some of the attitude that you've got going on and what we're going to put on the grill.
For instance, I'm going to put this on the grill later on. This is some prawns, really large prawns, and I like to use large prawns when I'm grilling, simply because you can see them when you're ready to eat them. These are deveined. I don't really care whether they're deveined or not, because my philosophy is if you can't eat what the prawns eat, don't eat them. You know?
That's true.
So, but these are deveined, and so we put these on the grill, and it is marinated in tequila.
Ah, there's just a little bit of
attitude. That is a little attitude. Or you can put rum if you do not have tequila, or you can use wine. But I use tequila because I have a lot of Mexican gourmet in me, so I like tequila. I think it is excellent with tequila. Very simple. Put it in oil, put some tequila, throw some garlic in, put it in a bag, shake it up, throw it on the grill or in the oven.
All of this is something you can do aboard a boat, and Chef Kelly has acknowledged that his galley here is a little bit larger than usual. We're going to hear some of the stories about him cooking gourmet meals in very small spaces on very big waves. But first, speaking of attitude, cars have attitude, and so does our reporter, Rayanne LaPlante. Today on Go Island, we are cooking with Chef Kelly. He has a book out about a year ago now called Meals Ahoy, and it really is the culmination of two of your passions. You love the water, you love boating, and he loves to cook. And from what I hear and what we're going to find out, he's pretty good at it too. Tell me some of the experiences you've had cooking aboard.
One of the ones that really sort of, you know, how you call that I really remember very well is sailing across the Pacific Ocean, and we were in the South Pacific, sailing from Tahiti to Honolulu.
Wow.
28 days, 2.5 hours, and you really count every minute of it. And we had some good weather, but very bad weather, and you cook through it all. You have to cook through it all. It doesn't really matter what the weather is.
You're hired by these boat owners to be the onboard chef.
Yeah, you have to cook. Plus, part of the crew. I cook and I sail, so I have a chef that I have to take care of the boat, and I have a chef. All the chefs for cooking belong to me.
You've owned restaurants as well.
I have owned over 7 restaurants.
In different parts of the world?
In different parts. Well, in Canada and the U.S.
Okay.
Really. And that was very, very exciting. You know, I love restaurants. Right now, my wife will not allow me to do restaurants because she said, when you have a restaurant, you're married to it, you know, which is really true.
And she wants a husband just for a little
Exactly.
while, right?
So I took up boating, which is worse.
Right.
Don't tell her, but it's worse. You get into boating, and that's all you want to do. And I've been boating for probably over 40 years.
The sense I get from you is that it's just a natural combination. I don't know you really well, but I can't imagine you living any other kind of life that isn't on the water, focused around gourmet food. It's your calling almost.
Well, yes, that is true. I love the water, I love boating, and I'm a foodie. I love good food. And what I try to do is tell people that you don't have to really eat hot dogs and hamburgers and junk food. When you're boating, you can eat properly, and you have to eat properly.
Right.
When you do short trips around here in the Pacific Northwest, it's easy. You know, you just go out for a day and you can come back. But when you're on the ocean for a number of days or weeks, you have to eat properly because you cannot get sick.
Right. Okay. A key to that is preparation. We're going to talk a little bit about preparation later on this edition of Go Island, and that is key to preparing gourmet meals on board. And I'm just going to note that Chef Kelly lives right up there, and he chose Nanaimo because, well, who wouldn't love this place? And he has to be close to the water, and he has to have a boat. And now they have it all right here in the harbor city. We're going to throw things over now to a leather designer on Gabriola Island. Anita is one of 20 artists participating in a Summer Breeze studio cruise taking place this weekend, the 20th and 21st on Gabriola Island from 10 until 4. You can get full details online at summerbreeze.blogspot.ca. We're going to come back with more from aboard the Barb Ole III and Chef Kelly after a short break. Still to come today on Go Island. If BC votes on legalizing pot, will Ottawa listen? And the sinking of the Empress of Ireland. That and more still to come today on Go. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We're on board the Barb Ole III in Nanaimo Harbor with Chef Kelly. Convinced that you don't have to be an accomplished chef to cook gourmet meals aboard a boat. He's traveled the world cooking meals, so he should know. Preparation is key.
Your key to boating is prep. You have to be able to prepare before you go. In my book, I have a whole chapter designated towards prepare before you go. Do not leave home without it. It's like a MasterCard or like a visa. You do not leave home without it. You know, and one of the number one item I mentioned in the book that you must remember to take is an apron.
An apron.
You must have an apron. And guess what?
Oh, I remember.
It cannot be a cloth apron.
Why?
It has to be a plastic apron, because if you're out there cooking and the weather gets rough and something hot spills on you and you have a cloth apron, you will just burn your whole side. If you have a plastic apron, just runs off.
Right.
That is key. Most people have aprons on the boat and you see them cooking with a cloth apron. No.
What about some little things for food? Like I see you've got some root vegetables here. And they obviously haven't just been cut up and now grilled. You've done some preparation ahead of time, and you do that before you even come aboard.
Exactly. As I mentioned before, if you're going out for a week or so, you probably won't do this. But if you're just out for a day, parboil your veggies if you want to have grilled veggies, and then you throw them on the grill if you want the grill look or the grill taste. Otherwise, you just boil them and leave them like that. We are doing these veggies this way. My shrimps, I marinated, just a few minutes before you got here.
Okay.
And then the chicken, I marinated it while we were talking out there. This is really good chicken breast.
And if you're going out for a short trip, you can just do it all before you come aboard. For the longer trips, you say that outlining the meals and knowing.
Exactly. For longer trips, you have to plan your menu. You should plan your menu. So when you go out there, you know what you have in day 1, day 2, and day 3. It's not boring. You really have to plan your menu.
One of the things he mentions in his book, too, is that if you're going to bring junk food, that's what you're going to end up eating aboard. If you bring your healthy food, well, guess what? That's what you're going to end up eating aboard.
Eating healthy is shopping healthy. And even on a boat, shopping healthy is important.
Right.
Because that's when you're going to eat healthy. No use going on the baby aisle trying to buy baby diapers when you don't have any babies at home. You go to, and if you don't eat chicken, don't go down the chicken aisle. Go down the aisle. Don't go down the aisle with chips. Go down another aisle.
Right.
You know, that's key.
Okay.
Key in shopping and preparation.
One of the things we were talking about earlier too is that all of the preparation can also apply for camping, and a lot of the recipes that you're going to find in Meals Ahoy will transfer very well over to the campsite, where you're dealing maybe with conditions that, you know, you don't have your full stove, you don't have maybe necessarily a fridge, so there's lots of options for cooking well and tasty out of your home kitchen. We're going to throw things over now to This Week in BC. Flipping through the pages of Meals Ahoy, gourmet meals on your boat, Chef Kelly has picked up recipes from quaint little bistros in the cobblestone streets of Paris and Rome, the pensions of Florence, haute cuisine in London and Geneva, venues of the Adriatic coast, as well as from his roots in the Caribbean. A lot of inspiration from a lot of different places.
That's right. We have cooked, my wife and I, we have cooked all over Europe, really. We've cooked in Croatia, as you've mentioned, in the south of France, lots in Paris, even for very so-to-do politicians in Paris.
Quite finicky, I would imagine.
Yes. We have cooked in the Caribbean, in Mexico, in Hawaii.
And do you take recipes in their pure form from these countries and places, or do you sort of put your own attitude into it and alter it and claim it as your own almost?
I claim it as my own because I change everything. Recipes are really just a guideline. So whenever we go out for dinner, I see something very interesting, I always end up in the kitchen talking to the chef. I always end up in the kitchen talking to the chef. And how do you do this? And why do you do it that way? And they tell me, and I go home and reproduce it. That's where most of these recipes are inspired from.
So you've taken things that you've experienced and made them your own, put the Chef Kelly touch on them, and made them boat friendly.
Made them friendly and give them a little attitude.
A little attitude.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for spaghetti with mussels is in here, meatballs over spaghetti on a boat. There are lots of vegetarian dishes in here as well. Smoked tofu salad, watermelon and arugula salad. Oh, that looks so good. We're going to throw things down now, though, to Victoria. The Empress of Ireland was a vessel that sank only 2 years after the Titanic, and it is arguably just as traumatic, dramatic, and sensational. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. I can honestly say that I have been inspired to rediscover cooking in my own kitchen at the campsite or aboard a boat thanks to Chef Kelly. You can catch him and his wife at various farmers markets around town. They're at the Bowen Market on Wednesday evenings. On Fridays, you can catch them at the downtown Nanaimo Farmers Market. And on Tuesday nights, they will be making an appearance now in Parksville on the Tuesday night street market. And Saturday mornings in Qualicum Beach as well. These folks are very, very busy. If you'd like more information, you can contact them directly, 250-591-7361. Thanks for watching this edition of Go Island. It's time to eat.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.